Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru, back again for UFC San Diego. Marlon Vera taking on former bantamweight champion Dominic Cruz. Man, this is a freaking sick card. But before we can get into that craziness, we've got somebody very, very special in the house. We've got, man, if you don't know freaking Manpreet by now, I don't know what you're doing. Lock of the Night is in the building, our brother from another mother country. What is going on, my friend?
I'm chilling, dude. I'm chilling. I was so happy when I saw the invite in the inbox. You know, I know you guys are getting the Dennis Bazookias and all that shit. I'm like, hey, y'all forgot about Lil old Manpreet over here. Y'all forgot about Lil old Lock over here.
Never.
But I was happy to get the call, man. There's a few shows that I love doing on whenever I get that call. You guys are one of those guys where I'm like, we're all the same. We're all the same. The triple C, I feel the triple C inside me.
Yeah.
yes.
Speaking of which, I could use a little triple C and that maybe really quick.
Let's go. So, I mean, as Papa Chuck knew what was going on. What's going on, Mushroom? What's going on? We're gonna stack those tickets as high as Willie Nelson. Yeah, we're just getting ready for that first. As the people join the chat, yeah, we're looking at violence. Papa Chuck, you know exactly what was going on. And now that we're on the show, that means we got to keep on going, baby. So before we get rolling here, make sure you guys throw on a like. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you guys are taking a hit because we got to get started here. So,
yeah, man, UFC on ESPN 41 is certainly an interesting card. I kind of call it like the Island of Misfit Fights card because we've got a hodgepodge of fights from different cards that have been just kind of thrown onto this one, onto the tail end. On top of what was already a pretty decent card. So there's going to be at least a few breakdowns that we'll probably maybe do a little bit shorter because we've kind of already done them, but you know us, we like to talk. So we got freaking Lock of the Night here. So
I mean, come on.
We might even go longer. Who knows? But we got the chat on fire. We got the boys here. Lock, what the fuck is good, buddy?
Yo, I'm chilling, man. I'm fucking chilling. Shout out to Papa Chuck as well. That guy. I did 2 other streams on my channel today, and Papa Chuck was on. I believe he was on both of them. But
you gotta love that, man.
He knows what's good. I appreciate all the guys in the chat as well. Those guys are like regulars, right? Those are the guys that like support a lot of the MMA community, not just myself, not just you guys, but every motherfucker in this space that goes out there and puts out content, puts the research in, and then gives it to us. So shout out to all those guys. Shout out to all the guys supporting it and making it a legitimate community. So yeah, let's just get baked and fucking talk fights and have fun.
Hell yeah.
That's it.
Hell yeah.
There is nothing better than that. And there's nothing better than me remembering to actually pull the stats up on the screen.
This means you're not baked enough yet.
Oh, geez. Well, don't worry. We'll take care of that because first off, we got to give the proper introduction to Marlon Vera versus Dom. What is it? The Decisionator Cruz?
The Decisionator. Oh, no.
Oh, no. What did I do?
Well, how are you going to do that to the... Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Look how they massacred my boy.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, listen. So, you got Dominic Cruz.
It's Dominic Pillow Hands Cruz, okay? Get it right. Don't disrespect the man.
Tell that to Takei Mizugaki, bro.
The only guy you can tell it to. This is one guy.
Also, like, when you're ground and pounding like that, like, I that just shows that you have zero, like, real get-up game or will to be in there. Like, that didn't show me anything as far as, like, Dom Cruz's power, you know?
Yikes.
Oof. But, yeah, okay, so we're off to a spicy start here.
It's the Dominator, by the way. It's like the Dominator, yeah.
Right. So, but at this point, we basically, I mean, the whole point is now we got Vera at minus 230 and Dom Cruz at plus 195. I mean, it says a lot about where Cruz is at in his career. I mean, as a former champion, a guy that went out there and, you know, dominated to a lot of decision victories as a champion. I mean, you know, are we getting that same guy coming out here against Marlon Vera? I mean, he's fighting up in the rankings here. Vera's actually fighting down. And what a step up this is for Dom Cruz after fighting the likes of Casey Kenny and Pedro Munoz. I mean, no offense to those guys, but I mean, this is Marlon Vera. So I see a guy that has, he's 13-6 in the UFC with 10 finishes, whereas Dom Cruz is 7-2. He's got 6 decision victories. Cheeto has never been finished in his career, let alone the UFC in his career. So I don't think that we're in
Cruz
danger.
Is such a finisher. This is a problem here. Don't you see the writing is on the wall?
So we need to fade the narrative.
Dom Cruz by submission plus 1,800. I don't even know if it's plus 1,800. Probably.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, but all right. So listen, I mean, ultimately,
it's plus 3,400. Holy shit!
Jesus.
All right, so they got it lined properly, I suppose. But ultimately,
I gotta slide into his DMs. that Darce is there, baby.
Come on, the neck is available.
Take it home.
But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I just come down to Dom Cruz gets dropped by Pedro Munoz round 1. Dom Cruz gets finished by Henry Cejudo. Marlon Vera has 9 knockdowns and 17 submission attempts in 19 UFC fights. He's going to have an opportunity to get a finish here or there. One way or the other, Cruz is either going to be hurt or in a bad position grappling. It's just what's guaranteed to happen in a Cheeto Vera fight. And I don't think it happens immediately, but then again, I mean, what can we expect out of Cruz's chin after, being dropped early by Pedro Munoz? I mean, even Frankie Edgar kind of goes 5 rounds without seeing that type of, ugly situation. So ultimately, I think Cheeto Vera, I'm going to be playing him inside the distance. I like it. It's at plus 215 on DraftKings. So that's my angle here.
Yeah, so I'm going to take I'll probably end up in the same place, but I'm gonna take a slightly different route. Dominic Cruz is somebody who has fought the absolute best of the best. When we talk about his ridiculous amount of injuries that he's come back from, the mental fortitude, the toughness, the championship medal, the fight IQ, right? We can all laugh about what he said about McGregor on the ground. He's drawing Khabib in. He's drawing him in to make him tired. Right? We can all laugh about some of the things that he said, but realistically, the dude has a very high fight IQ. So when you take that, and then Marlon Cheeto Vera, right? Like, he's that notoriously slow starter, right? You watch that Rob Font fight, and the big knock, or like the big talking point after that fight was, the cumulative, it was the output of Font. He could have done it. He should have. Like, people were like on Font just because of the amount thrown, right? Which we all obviously know that's not the scoring criteria. It's scored based on damage, and the damage was evident. With that being said, if you're going to start off slow against a gamer like Dominic Cruz, if you want to just give up a round, and then you want to mix in the possibility of Dominic Cruz's grappling at 2.35 takedowns per 15, and we saw in the Jose Aldo fight where, Cheeto can just kind of get controlled at a certain point. He's got a 23% opponent control percentage. That's a quarter of the time that he's fighting, he's being controlled. Like, that's not great. And then, like I discussed, when he's at the feet, a lot of times he's not striking. He's not throwing enough strikes. So you're going to get, we've talked about it time and time again on this show, but like, if you're going to take the minus 200 favorite, especially in the main event, you better be damn sure you're getting a finish, because we watch time and time again these close, decisions, or where we're debating about, are they scoring fights correctly? Is the criteria right? Blah, blah. No, it's about bankroll management. It's about, not sinking money into a chalky favorite that you're not sure is going to get a finish. He needs a finish. He's a prolific finisher. To your point, fading the narrative here would be taking Cheeto Vera by finish, which at 9 UFC finishes or whatever, is it really fading the narrative? No, it's fading the recency bias of his last 2 decisions. Rob Font is a tough motherfucker, So, when you want to knock, and that's I keep going back and forth, because when you want to knock Dom Cruz for getting rocked by Pedro Munoz, dude, he's like being too aggressive, and he like doesn't see him slip in the crazy jab, gets rocked by it, recovers a little bit, then gets crushed by a cross. But what does he do? He wrestles and gets on top, and then like wins the rest of the round, and then wins the rest of the fight, like, for sure. So, he's like, he didn't get zonked. Like, he didn't go to sleep. And I'm not sure that Vera, again, similarly, with his lack of output at times, right? Like, you kind of saw in the Rob Font fight. Font was like dunzo in those fourth and fifth. He didn't get that prolific finish. So, I just have a weird taste in my mouth from the Rob Font fight. That's all. And if you are a longtime listener of our show, you know that we hammered and made a killing on Marlon Vera over Rob Font as the dog in that fight. So I'm just trying to be properly trepidatious. My pre-tape lean was Vera 4-5 decision. By plus, it's now listed plus 115 on FanDuel. I still kind of lean that way. It gives me that late option finish. We get to championship rounds. Maybe it kind of goes with the little bit of the over. And then I get my boy by decision. What do we got? Boys, write this down. Probably Lock of the night. Lupian, Zalal by decision. Budai, KO. Oh, my goodness. Papa Chuck. What are you smoking, Papa Chuck? I need some of that. Not terrible, though. And exactly, you can't forget about the shitty judges. I've rambled way too long. We need Lock of the night to bring some realness to the chat. So what do you got for us, bud?
Y'all remember when GSP got clipped by Matt Serra? Y'all remember that? Came back and won that fight.
He was like, no.
Y'all remember Khabib getting clipped by Michael Johnson and coming back and still winning that fight? What's the constant theme there? Is it seems to be two goats of their respective divisions having a small stumble in their career, coming back and making things right once again. Dominic Cruz, how dare thee besmirch the name by talking this shit about Dominic Cruz? My man hasn't lost. My man's only lost to Henry Cejudo, who could go down as one of the greatest flyweights of all time. The greatest version we'll ever see of Cody Garbrandt, probably one of the greatest versions of any fighter we'll ever see. And I think everybody can agree upon that. That version of Cody Garbrandt is much different than the Cody Garbrandt of 2022.
He was my favorite fight. I remember putting a Facebook post. I'm like, he's the new Conor McGregor. Like he was my favorite fighter. I watched that whole tough season. Like I loved it.
So he overcomes those two losses and a plethora of injuries and comes back and beats one young gun and Pedro Munoz. Right?
One young gun and one young Punisher.
Yeah, perfect. Fuck, I'm not high enough, but what he showed in that Pedro Munoz fight, sure, you get clipped. We know Pedro Munoz has power in his hands. That's something that he's always dangerous for. And Cruz got slipped in 1 second, and he paid for it. But those moments come few and far between. You're talking about a guy, I see your statistics up here, 2010 to present, but you're leaving out some of that great moments of Dominic Cruz's career dominating guys in the WEC. So if you take that into consideration, you're talking about a 71% striking defense rate. Like, this guy does a very good job of hitting and not getting hit. He is so good at that. Marlon Vera, at times, does struggle with his output early in fights, right? That's why Frankie Edgar can go out there for 5 full minutes and beat Marlon Vera in that first round. But then obviously we see Chito turn it on second, third round gets the finish. Okay, we know what we're getting with that version of Frankie Edgar going into that fight. But are we really calling Dominic Cruz having a glass chin for Marlon Vera out of all the guys that we're scared about? Marlon Vera could clip him. Absolutely. He could hurt him. But are we expecting him to put him out cold? Because that seems to be the narrative that I'm seeing all week. I'm not saying that you guys are saying that, but people are acting like Chito Vera is a lock of the year type of situation here. You're paying 2.5 to 1 against one of the greatest bantamweights of all time, who hasn't really shown much slip up. Okay, that one Pedro Munoz thing, but like TB was saying, the dude got rocked. Or sorry, I think it was Guru that said it. He got rocked in that round. Came back, got his wrestling going, got his striking going, and won the rest of that round still. So how rocked and how hurt was he really? Was it like
he was pretty good? He was pretty fucking rocked.
Of course, but to be able to come back.
To your point, it's what I'm concerned about. It's that championship medal. It's that experience. It's that, again, if he can steal one round with grappling, that first round with some striking, and then it's a close third, all of a sudden we got a crazy split where the MMA Twitter's on fire that they all lost their bets. Are we really that shocked? No, That's what I've been agonizing with TB over all week long. You could ask him. He's like, "Why are you still texting me about this?"
Dude, I was honestly surprised to see the line continue to move. Like, as soon as I finished my studying on that fight, I put 2 units on Dominic Cruz right away at plus 180.
Ooh, okay.
Plus
I
180.
added another 1 unit at plus 200 once I got 200 on Pinnacle on my book up here. I also added 2 units on the decision only plus 150 on Dominic Cruz.
Wow.
So
see,
that
decision only is
Exactly.
interesting too.
It takes out the possible Chito Vera finish, which I don't think is as live as most people are making it out to be. So this isn't Dominic Cruz standing in front of him the way Rob Font was, right? Rob Font, to get his offense off, the guy needs to stand in front of you to get that many strikes off.
Yeah,
that jab, exactly. You're right there. Dominic Cruz hits and gets out of the way, moves, head movement, all that stuff. Like, it's going to be harder for Chito Vera to clip him, in my opinion. And then last point I'll make about this fight, I put a tweet out about it in regards to his wrestling. The guy's landed 55 takedowns in his Zuffa era of fighting since WEC to the UFC. This is a guy that hit 10 takedowns against Demetrius Johnson. Like, this guy can wrestle if he needs it. And Chito Vera, we've seen some struggles at times with him in terms of, getting taken down, sometimes even being held down, sometimes even having his back ridden for 5 minutes by a guy that has never ridden anybody's back in the UFC.
Yeah.
AKA Jose motherfucking Aldo.
Yeah.
So before we go out there and try to fade Dominic Cruz, one of the greatest bantamweights of all time, I would prefer to have a minus 120, minus 130 number. You guys can talk me into Chito Vera being a slight favorite in this spot. Age, trajectory, all that type of shit.
Yeah.
But there's no way he should be minus 200 in this spot. Not even minus 150, in my opinion. I got Dominic Cruz. I feel pretty damn good about it. I may look like a complete idiot come next week. I may look like the day I took Alexander Volkov over Tom Aspinall, like a complete dumbass.
Yeah.
But this is Dominic Cruz that we're talking about. I feel so much better about this. We shall see. Cruz has never faced a creature like Vera. Cruz's knees are shot. Dude, the guy went out there and did what he does for the last
it's true.
15 or half an hour of fight time that he had inside the cage. He kept up. And last thing, one more thing. I'm very fired up about this matchup.
No, okay,
this is we're getting all week. I would take Casey Kenny over Marlon Vera. I said it.
Wow.
Ooh.
I would say it.
Well, okay. See, I can see your argument in that specific matchup for sure. I can see that
because the output is gonna be a problem for him.
I think all around, and he has a little bit more of a traditional style, but I do think the gas tank for Casey Kenny with a guy like Vera that's going to shell up for the majority of stuff. I mean, maybe he still pours it on in that type of regard. Because I think in this Dominic Cruz matchup, I do think, for him, he is giving up the reach here. I think he's going to be giving up some thickness too overall. So I don't think that those wrestling exchanges are going to be as easy for him to kind of execute and go through it at his age, to be able to cover all the distance coming in for what he would normally be doing to strike and then changing in for a takedown attempt. I just think at this point, I mean, he might be, best shape of his life coming in. I expect him to put up a good fight here. I do. I got Vera at the minus 215, with 3 units out there. So It is what it is. I like exactly. Hey, I like it getting spicy. I like planting flags, and ultimately, I just think it's one of those like kind of themes that we've seen recently as like a father time, as Mushroom brings up in the chat too.
It might be, but to this point, we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it.
That's fair. That's fair. I just don't think that Vera's in any danger besides a decision. I think that Vera has more ways to win overall because he could win a decision. He could.
Yeah,
for sure.
He definitely can. I just think it's actually interesting as I continue to think about this fight in my head, right? If Vera's smart, he chops the shit out of those legs. And
that's what he does anyways. Even if he's not smart, that's what he does. Right. And he goes to the body.
Right. So you have
prolifically.
You have to do that. You're good. But the thing with Dom is he constantly is switching stances and changing where he plants his feet. So, which is also interesting because this is which we didn't talk about yet. It's actually a battle of the broadcasters. Chito Vera does the broadcasting for the Spanish side. Yeah. So that's also interesting. I'm hoping that he should be able to see that, know where he's dipping. You're gonna have to very simply, you slow down the movement of Dominic Cruz. You're cutting the head off the snake.
Pedro Munoz prolific leg kicker himself, landed 20 kicks on Dominic Cruz, and I don't think we really even saw Dominic Cruz limping at any point in that fight. Like, it seems like he does a good job of checking them or staying out of the way,
which is his own fight
rolling
IQ,
with them essentially to take off the brunt of the shot. You guys should have seen me in my head when I saw that you guys are starting off with this fight. I'm like, we're starting here. We're starting here.
Yeah.
We're getting into it.
I was hoping you guys would be on the Vera side so I could get fired up.
Oh yeah, I love it. So I mean, I think we had a spicy main event. It might stay on the spicy side as we head into the co-main. Here is what it's looking like. We might see. I mean, let's see what's going on here. So we got Nate the Train Landwehr, the guy that was screaming for Dana.
Dana.
Dana doesn't care about you, Nate. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think so with this matchup personally after a year off for Nate Landwehr.
And here's David Onama. I think they're setting him up for, here you are, the co-main. We're trying to get you, all hyped up. You should be able to, be set up for success here. I mean, the thought is that Onama comes out and starches Landwehr. But I think even if he doesn't, I mean, he's going to have a bit of a size advantage. And I think a lot of Nate Landwehr's statistics are kind of juiced up from that Elkins fight where he stuffs 12 out of 13. But a lot of those attempts come when, like, Elkins is, like, in really bad shape. And Landwehr is not one of those guys that really slows down cardio-wise, which is important in this fight. Because while a lot of people are thinking that Onama's, going to get that early KO, anything like that, which makes it tough for me to want to be on the money line here because we got that minus 280 Onama and plus 235 Landwehr. So if you don't think your guy's getting a finish per se, then I don't know if you want to be, running to play the money line. But if you go to the fight props and look at the winning method, what I was thinking was instead of the Onama knockout at plus 120, Onama decision at plus 300. For a guy that is going to go ahead and use his wrestling if things get a little sketchy in there. And I don't think Nate Landwehr is going to be able to control Onama like he did a guy like Ludovic Klein, who, I just think he was giving up a lot of size in there to Nate. And it's basically turning the tables the complete opposite direction for into Onama's favor in this matchup. And I think Onama has a lot of experience using reversals as far as submissions, not just to get a submission, but to reverse position. So even if Nate has a little success offensively with his wrestling, which I think he more just uses the clinch to wear on his opponents, I don't think that so much of that are going to be great options for him here. I'm going Onama. I'm taking him decision at plus 300 as my prop, and I'll probably have like a small parlay to add on to like my big one. So Guru, what are you thinking here?
What I'm thinking is why is Onama taller but in red? That's what I'm thinking.
I have to figure out. So it's because it's a 5 and then the next number is a 1, but it's not like computing that it's an 11 instead. So I have to figure out why it's doing that. But I'm not going to do that now.
Ever the production head, Mr.
Anyways,
of course.
That's just me like pointing out the one mistake in our
you fired
on our awesome stat sheet. Anyway, so similar to the last fight, I don't know if I said it, but I'm going to say it here. And I love this arbitrary stat. When you have the younger guy with the height advantage and the reach advantage, you're getting like 60+% chance that you're already going to win right there. Like I eat that shit up because you know what I mean? And then you start to break this fight down. I think they're giving Nate Landwehr a co-main event because I think they're giving him somebody that's going to fucking scrap with Onama. I think it's exciting. I think they're putting Nate Landwehr like where he was supposed to be coming out of M1 Global, like, this touted prospect and, out of a good promotion and come out here and has exciting fights. And he's had, an interesting UFC run. That debut loss to Herbert Burns is like looks even worse in hindsight now. Darren Elkins, the win, right? We talked about that in terms of it being a kind of a stat patter. The Julian Erosa loss, that was one of TB and I's early head-to-head matchups. I was on Erosa. So that was a solid win for me. And listen, we faded him versus Ludovic Klein and we paid the price for that. Klein had the, poor gas tank at that weight class, and Klein seems to have changed it around for himself now. But we're yet to see Mr. Landwehr, who they were giving very tough matchups in Lerone Murphy and Zabaya Tukugov, where then he ends up on David Onama. So I think that's also kind of interesting. On the flip side, you look at David Onama, and like the one flaw I had with him was like his striking defense. Like that's a sore thumb. It's not great, but his chin is fucking really good, and his own striking offense is fantastic. And when he gets hurt, he uses the grappling. So other than a Nate Landwehr knockout, I don't know how Nate wins exactly. I just kind of like Onama overall. He's just as scrappy. I guess that's interesting because I guess maybe Onama's had the better cardio to Armfield, and he definitely didn't need the better cardio, but had it versus Benitez. I'm not sure if he'll have it versus Nate Landwehr, so that's kind of an interesting thought. So I don't know if he struggled with him as much as like Armfield is actually UFC level. Like he was controlling him against the cage. Like, yeah, he didn't wipe the floor with him until he actually did, like whatever it was, when he broke him 6 minutes, 7 minutes into the fight. Yeah, Nate, that's the thing. Nate runs on that Tennessee moonshine. So he's like, oh, I have to go to those fights. He just like, he runs into stupid shit. And like, that's the Julian Erosa fight. So when you're, like I said it last week with the Jeff Neal Luque fight, like when you're willing to give David Onama the fight that he wants, I kind of lean Onama. Like you want to give Jeff Neal a boxing match. I'm going to go with Jeff Neal. Like, yeah. So I don't hate the dog shot per se, but especially as the line keeps getting wider and wider, but I'm on Onama here. I almost like Onama by like submission or something crazy. Like
I honestly don't know. I apologize, Mushroom. Dude, this is we kind of talked about this before we hopped on the live here, right? I think Onama, he is a guy that got the silver platter treatment on the regional scene, right? All of his fights for KCFA, FAC, most notably run by his head coach, Mr. James Krause. You got to know that they're giving him somewhat favorable matchups there. You know, even if they had decent records, look at the age of some of these guys. These guys were up there in age as well. The kid's good striking, good power, as we've obviously seen. But like, you know, obviously the Mason Jones fight was crazy. And I think a lot of people are giving him the benefit of the doubt in that fight and, you know, using that fight to kind of prop up his stock essentially. But like, how good is Mason Jones now, right? Like,
right. That's a good point.
That is a question mark where we might have seen him exposed by Ludovic Klein. Obviously, I'm not ready to write him off and say he was a bust by any means. I think the kid is still good, but we'll see how he does against future opponents, right? Like the one guy that he beat the shit out of was Alan Patrick, who, if he can't get you down, the guy sucks. And we saw what he did to Alan Patrick there, and I think a lot of that is going to keep trickling into his betting line. But in regards to David Onama with Nate Landwehr, Nate has fought some tough motherfuckers on the regional scene. In M1, remember all those wars he had with those Russians over there? What do you think those Russians would do to David Onama, right? Like, I'd have to go back and see these guys specifically, but I think those guys could have some close fights with Onama, maybe beat him as well. I took a half unit shot on Armfield because I thought the kid was good, and I thought, you know, if you guys remember, they fought on the amateur scene first, and that fight was pretty much just a slobber knocker, right? Those guys just stood in the middle of the cage and threw strikes, and obviously Onama was going to get the better of that. Then as you progress through Garrett Armfield's career, you find out that he has a wrestling background. You find out that, oh, he's actually starting to use it now. And he used it kind of in the David Onama fight with some success. So what if Nate, I was about to say Leighton Landwehr, so I think I'm just high enough, which is perfect. But I think that Nate can go in there and make it a complete mixed fight. I think he can strike with him. I think he can rough him up in the clinch, take him to the ground. It's just, can you trust the durability of Nate Landwehr? Gotta believe he was on all the sauce when he was fighting in M1 because as soon as he comes to the UFC, he gets knocked out, right? Twice.
Oh, yeah.
So that is the main concern there. For me, I think the path to victory here for David is going to be the KO. If it goes to full 15, I think we see Nate look like value and possibly either snatch a close decision or win a split or something like that. So I'm gonna be leaning on the Nate side, and I'm trying to talk myself into betting him, but I just can't. I can't get the image of Onama just fucking dusting him immediately, and then I'll be like, god damn, wasted half a unit there.
Well, half a unit ain't so bad. I mean, that's a decent sized shot.
+2 something, right? You might as well. If that's your concern is the fragility, you don't have to go a full unit. You can still win a unit by taking a half unit shot.
Yeah, I don't have a gigantic play on this fight, so like my Onama decision would be like a quarter unit to a half unit tops. I feel you. I'm looking for like good plus money on this fight. If you're on the Onama side, I hope you're not like just playing knockout straight up at +120, because I don't think it's going to be so easy to make. Maybe Onama over 1.5. If you're
I was just looking that up. What are you reading my mind? What the fuck? I was just pulling that up. Thanks
because
for
I don't think there's any way that you could play just the straight up.
Onama and over 1.5 is +110. But the problem with that is we were concerned about Landwehr's durability. So, like, it's the same half unit play. Are we going to feel stupid that we played that when he dusts Nate Landwehr in 2 seconds?
Yeah. Well, fair enough. I mean, I think we gave a nice, solid breakdown on those fights. And it's good to have a little, like dichotomy and be on both sides. Yeah, exactly. Some controversy. Like,
it makes me really fucking excited to watch the fights because I just want to see them play out so badly now.
There's a handful of live dogs on this card. Like, obviously we'll go through as many as we can here, but I might surprise you guys with some of the dogs that I'm gonna think about taking a shot on.
Oh man, I'm gonna really surprise you guys with one, or maybe not Guru because I've been talking about it, but it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I mean, so we're getting on to this next fight here. As I figure my life out with Excel, we got Yasmin versus Yasmin, right? What could be more exciting? Why is this the third fight of the evening?
Because I think they're really trying to. I think they're trying to promote these two young ladies. Here.
I think they're trying to promote the favorite here.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It seems like
he's a stud.
I'm doing my best out here. We're good. Okay, there we go. So I mean, -210 Yasmin, +180 Yasmin. Guess which one? Jauregui is -210 and Lucinda at +180. Lucinda's only 20 years old and she's been fighting 5 years. The fuck? So she was professionally fighting at 15. We're all like, is that legal? Is that cool?
How is that not child labor? That's very interesting.
Brazil don't give a fuck, my friends.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's the answers. Fair enough. But hey, 13-4 at the ripe age of 20 years old. I mean, geez. And Yasmin, I should say Jauregui. This is like our Pueyas of this week. Jauregui is looking like the better technical boxer, better head movement and defense, and I think just a little bit more ready for this fight. But I can't confidently say that as she's sitting at -210, and we haven't seen either of them fight in the UFC before. So realistically, we got to go prop hunting. But Guru, do you have any thoughts either way before I go hunting for props? Like, do you like the dog?
Jauregui. Listen, I was practicing that name, man. So, Jauregui's a fucking beast. She's literally hell on wheels, rapid fire punches, explosive striking. Shows decent takedown defense with being able to sprawl and get double underhooks and reverse her position. You see a very high level of fight IQ. As well. I mean, the one thing maybe that could be a problem is she can overthrow and it can create cardio concerns, and she can sometimes crash forward a little too much. But the one interesting thing about her Combate fights, if you guys are Tapology users, as you should be, those Combate fights, 3 of her wins happen in the same night. And that decision win versus Stephanie Frausto was a 1-round decision because it was a tournament. So that's, I mean, she dusted the 2 girls that were pretty damn good, and she grinded out that decision. She in 5 minutes, she put 15 minutes worth of damage on her. She got her, she gave her money's worth for joining the tournament. And from Lucinda, honestly, I guess I just didn't see enough per se. She's good. She might even really be UFC level, but she was dominating her competition as well. Was confident. The thing and this is why she's not going to win. Or I guess if she could, the way she wins is if Horegi gets too tired. The thing with Lucindo is she's grappling dependent. She's not comfortable on the feet. So if she's not able to get Horegi down to the ground and hold her there, which I don't think she will be, she's going to be in trouble on the feet. I just think it's just a lack of experience, which is fine. She'll get better and learn from this, but she's very, very good on the ground. She's got great body lock takedowns, good top pressure and control. Will actively search for submissions, but will choose position over the submission. Like, she's really good at the grappling, but I just didn't see her very comfortable on the feet. And when you see somebody like Horegi, who's literally hell on wheels and not going to be easily taken down, it might be a fucking dusting. So it's like usual, been way too long since fucking Manpreet, so let me shut up.
Bro, I don't know what more to add. You pretty much touched it, man. Like that was exactly how I would have broken it down. Like Lucindo, I feel like it might come down to her looking like Paul Craig, right? Like where she might not be comfortable.
Paul Craig!
Like she might get fucking pull guard and all that type of shit. Like that's how good I think Yoregui is on the feet, man. I think she's very smooth. She's crisp, great combinations. She gives me a little bit of a Marina Rodriguez vibe, just a tad in terms of her confidence with her striking and throwing. But yeah, if she can keep this fight upright, which I absolutely believe she should be able to dust up Lucindo here, who's been beaten up on babysitters essentially, right? Like she doesn't really have the toughest level of competition that she's been going up against. Yeah, give me Yoregui. Seems like some action coming in on Lucindo though, so I might keep my eye on that line as fight day gets closer. And if we get a better line on her money line, I might just take the shot on Yoregui here, straight up on the money line.
All right. I like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
if that line closes up, I would consider it.
Yeah, exactly. The closer it gets, the better I'll feel about it. That's true too. And what's the line on her by finish? I bet it's going to be really high.
I think it was like plus 225 for her KO line, which I don't mind.
Yeah, plus 260 on FanDuel.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing plus 250, plus 320, plus 250. Yeah.
Plus 225 by finish. If you want to cover
plus 225 off, and it's only plus. Where'd you get that? It's only plus 200. Yeah, it's only plus 200 by finish on FanDuel, and they usually have the better props. So
value hunting.
I actually like that just simply by finish instead of knockout too.
That's interesting.
Hey, if fight doesn't go to decision, is plus 120, right? What if Lucindo finds a submission on the ground of some sort?
That's not a bad idea.
Just the fight in general, sure, and it keeps you away from any sort of sketchy side necessary shit.
Yeah. In case Paul Craig pulls off a fucking triangle.
Oh, Craig, my guy. Oh, why couldn't he get it done versus Vulcan? I would have been so happy.
Oh, I'm so glad he did it. That was
that was your luck of the night. I remember that. I hated going up against that. Sure.
Beautiful. Well, hey, now we got our next fight. I think we'll have a little bit more fleshed out breakdown of Devin Clark versus Azamat Murzakanov. Devin, if nothing else, his dad's going to be in his corner screaming him, "You got to fight!" So,
you got to get in there,
Devin. So, if nothing else, we'll have a lot of entertainment from our outside perspective. You see, we're already having fun. So, Devin Clark already did his job for the week, no matter what. But then Azamat Murzakanov, I just remember I was telling Guru earlier this week, I pulled up I saved all my old text messages. So I was like, dude, the only thing I remember, I had to rewatch the fight because we had bet Murzakanov and all this stuff happens. We won't go through everything, but Guru was just sending me all these texts. I'm at work. I'm not watching the fights at the moment, and I'm relying on his updates.
No. It's why are you telling the story?
30, 40 updates in this row, and it just ended up being a disaster of cashing out bets and other stuff. So there's a lot of
tell the real story then if you're gonna do it this way. Tell what's happened.
So we had a bet on Murzakanov. Guru watching the fights live cashes it out and places a live bet on Tefan at like even money going into the round 3.
No, it was like plus 120 or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was winning the first 2 rounds. And
it was crazy.
And I was the one that had pushed
took
to
an
be
L
on
on the cash
Murzakanov
out,
in the first
right?
play. What happened?
You took an L already on the cash out, though.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just a fucking. I'm weak. I'm weak.
Yeah, but that honestly, he hasn't done something like that since. So if anything, it's like a lesson learned, you know. So that just gives you like an insight into like the guru experience as we're sitting there like watching fights together. In the old days when we're not watching fights together, I'm getting the updates.
That's just on a roller coaster the whole time.
Yeah. So no, it's a great time. It's an experience. So, but anyway, so now we got this fight. It's Murzakanov coming back, and I don't think I mean, we look at the stats here, and I mean, Devin Clark, technically, he's got the better stats here, but I'm not going to put too much into it, given that Murzakanov, I mean, a little rugged out there against a guy in Chukwi that is a pretty solid kickboxer overall. The one thing I'm concerned about here, if you're going to be on the Murzakanov side, minus 145 and Clark plus 125, I got to see what he looks like next to him at the weigh-ins and face-offs, because, I mean, size could be a real difference here. And if Clark is able to avoid getting smacked in the chin and able to kind of just like sit in the clinch, and he's that much bigger, I mean, Brown Bear got to fight. I mean, if nothing else, he's tough. But if he can't really just kind of rely on all of that control and pressure and hanging on, and because I think Murzakanov's got a solid enough grappling background himself. So I don't think it's just going to be like Clark, like, oh, like the second he takes him down, it's a wash. Like, I'm just saying that from a size perspective. That's what I'm really curious about, because if the line keeps on sliding and Murzakanov gets closer and closer to even money, and I see like it's not that big a deal come weigh-ins, I'll be on Azamat on the money line here, especially if it keeps on closing up. I'm already probably there at minus 145. And you move on ahead. It's like I just think he's got more dynamic striking and finishing potential than anyone that Clark's faced recently. Like even guys like Kudelaba hasn't really put anyone away recently in the UFC. Whereas like Murzakanov coming in, and even against a guy like Chukwi that's like almost never been finished, he finds a way to get it done even in round 3. So I think Devin Clark, I mean, from an athletic standpoint and striking overall, like I don't trust him. If he can't use his physicality to his advantage, Murzakanov by knockout at plus 140 will be my play. But, that's a little square overall. Guru, you got like a deeper read here?
You kind of stole all my shit, though. No, I mean, listen, the thing with Devin is, and that's what makes, like, you gotta search for some dog somewhere. And the thing with Azamat is, like, he should be a good grappler, right? Like, he is a good grappler. The thing is that Devin Clark is obviously pretty good as well. He's just very grappling dependent. And, like you were already saying about the size stuff, I'm very much want to see weigh-ins and face-offs to see how they look. I just feel like I'm not sure Devin Clark is the guy to bring the medal here. Like we saw him get rocked badly by William Knight in that first round, right? And then he just kind of beats William Knight as William Knight starts to gas. In a crazy heavyweight fight, so he only takes it up a few pounds, and then you've got Thick Willie, shout out to Dan Tom, looking extra thick, like with like 6 C's on that shit. And he gets absolutely plastered by Ion Kudelaba. His mouth is a mess. His teeth are falling out. And then has similarly gotten finished by Ryan Spann and Anthony Smith as well. So And Azamat has only shown us, if nothing else, maybe he could be disappointing or someone to fade in the future, maybe now. But if nothing else, he's shown that he could be losing a fight, not doing that well, and then win a fucking fight. So that's a big deal to me. And when you're like that, one more thing, and then we're gonna pass it to Lock. When we talk about being worried about Devin Clark's, maybe height and reach advantage. Great. Like, is he bigger than Tefan and Chukwi? No. Okay, well, how much does it fucking matter then? Because Devin Clark's not even a striker. Chukwi's at least a striker. So Azamat should probably roll here as I talk myself further into it. What do you think, my guy?
I thought TB was in my brain because like he goes, if it gets closer to pick him, I'll probably take the shot, but I'm already there with the minus 145. Then take the minus 145. Bro, that killed. Oh, that had me dead. Like he's like, I just need a little better line, but I'm already there. So like, then take it. I agree with you. Like we saw him at minus 180 earlier this week. There's already action coming in on Devin Clark, so that's why we're getting minus 140, minus 145.
Right.
Might as well take it. Also, just a quick little update that you can put on your little screenshot there in terms of the gym for Devin Clark. He's with the Elevation Fight team for the last 2 training camps now. So shout out to my guy Cody Donovan. But I think that's a good move for him. Obviously, considering that Jackson Wing seems to be dying at this point in time, right?
Yes, I was gonna say I hate
out there anymore.
God.
But
we're gonna bring that up later too.
I think Devin Clark is already a finished product. Like I don't think changing a gym is truly going to help this point to the extent of going out there and having a championship type career after this. Like it's not going to happen. Even the improvements required to beat a guy like Azamat, I don't think he's going to make those improvements over their Elevation Fight team. So, I think this is just a recency bias on the Azamat and Tefon fight. Like even I had the chalk on Azamat that night and I was sweating my balls off. Luckily I didn't cash out though. Guru. But I think a lot of people are looking into that too much and forgetting the fact that Devin Clark is not Tefon and Chukwi. Like it's as simple as that. Like he's going to be attacking with his wrestling most likely, and I think Azamat will be good enough in terms of dealing with that. And last thing I'll say about it, like by the way people talking about Devin Clark's fragility and chin, you'd think he would be knocked out more times than twice in the UFC, right? Like he only has 2 knockout losses, and the last one was the Alexander Rakic fight, which I saw up here in Toronto when it was the curtain jerker that night, which was hilarious. Yeah. But he has been rocked. He's been wobbled, like you guys said. I think that's why people continue to harp on it. I think Azamat could blast him early here. That's usually how he gets his best work done. And I'm hoping the line continues to come in. So if I likely won't take the minus 145, but hey, if we can get minus 135 or minus 130, there's no point in waiting because all I'm seeing is Devin Clark love. And I got the Devin Clark love at like plus 150, plus 160 or whatever it is. But I don't know. Like, are we so quick to write off Azamat even after a fight that he won? Like it's like when everybody's saying Volkov was shot after he won the Marcin Tybura fight. Like, obviously, he lost to Tom Aspinall after that, but, like, the guy still went out there and beat the brakes off of Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Like, let's not let just the last performance sway you too far off of a guy that could still be quite skilled. So, give me Azamat. I'll likely take a little bit of a poke on his money line.
A little poke. A little poke. That's actually funny. We that's a little segue when I spoke with my dad. We say, oh, we'll take a. You want to take a little not a little poke. Instead of toke, we say poke. I don't know why.
I love it. That's dope.
Actually funny.
But yeah, I mean, so that kind of sums up that fight there. I mean, seems like we're all kind of vibing and feeling.
We vibing.
Yeah, I dropped my pen, so I'm just going to quickly bend over and grab it. Hopefully. Let me just stop the cam so y'all don't take a peek into my ass crack.
Damn it, he fooled our plan.
And that's the last time he's our guest. What the fuck?
That's like, if you want to be part of the show. No.
We only show ass cracks around here.
Yeah, right. It's cash, grass, or ass. You know the rules.
I love it. Thank God I got the pen back. And shout hey, I just want to give a quick behind the scenes shout out to Mrs. Lock. In my studio, I actually have a glass door so I can actually see out of it. And she heard me say, like, I dropped my pen, and then she just comes to the door and she's holding up her own pen, like, I'm like, I got it. Thank you.
Damn,
I appreciate it.
She the one for real.
She the one.
No.
Spoke with their dad.
No, see, that's like also kind of the joke too. We've literally joked like that's like the joke too. Like it's a little it's super fucking weird.
Y'all are wild.
Yeah.
All right. So it's time.
We gotta talk about this shit.
Yeah, it's time to break down this fight again.
Actually.
I'm guessing we're gonna be brief.
If it was just for the first time.
For the first time. Yeah, so I mean, they're still going to be fighting for the first time at least, and I still am on my initial lean. As stupid as it might end up being, there's got to be some dogs somewhere, and I hear the dogs barking here. I like the zombie. I just think, and now plus 175 after Lipski misses weight, looks like death. They push the fight back a week because she doesn't get cleared. I mean, what the fuck are we doing pushing it even further right now? I was on Cachoeira at like plus 145 last week. I mean, I'll take it now at plus 175. And yeah, I'm not going to go ahead with the prop or anything. I think that's good enough for me. So, Guru, I mean, you got something juicy here?
Yeah, I kind of had said in the beginning of the show that I felt like these ones we'd broken down before were going to be shorter. Yeah, we broke this down a little bit longer. It's kind of like a sketchy fight that is maybe more of a pick'em anyway. Lipski beat Mandy Bohm, who we faded fairly heavy, and it worked out in our favor because Mandy Bohm is a kind of fraudulent, possibly fairly. Like, I mean, you know what? In her defense, maybe she's not fraudulent. She just hasn't done any offense at all. So maybe she's an unbelievable savage in the gym. She's Mike Tyson, but she just hasn't shown it in the octagon yet. I don't know. But TB already said it. They canceled the fight because she missed weight, and then they canceled the fight, right? Because she got sick. What? And then there was that shit coming out that she said that she had side effects from COVID medication or something. That's not good. And then they're like, let's just do it again. Wait again. We'll do it next week. Sure. Okay. What? And then we're going to make the line wider. Like, to me, the only thing that says is, other than being a little sketchy and not making any sense, is like maybe Vegas knows something. Maybe they're in the camps. Maybe they saw something. Like, to me, otherwise it just smells fishy. So I'm on the zombie girl at a wider line here now. Like I was last week at plus 145, I guess plus 175. It would be insane for me not to be there. You gonna talk some sense into us, Lock, or are we joining you? Are we joining you, and are you joining us with Clint and the tinfoil hat theory?
Hashtag zombie team, right? Like that's what I think I'm going to be doing here with you guys as well. I got in at plus 150 last week. The bookie's still honoring that ticket, which I wish they didn't, considering now that we're getting plus 175. Again, we've heard the breakdowns for 2 weeks now. I won't keep it that long. I'll just pretty much say this. Ariane Lipski is the better mixed martial artist. Priscilla Cachoeira is the better fighter. Done. That's it.
Amen. Amen, my brother. Oh yeah, I like that. So hell yeah, let's go ahead and move on. So we got our next fight, which is so much more exciting in my mind. I actually saw a really cool props here. This is one of those special names. We're gonna have an interesting one. I found some new props. It was like DraftKings lets you do a double chance, but for like one for each side of the fight. So you could do Bruno Silva is minus 285 and GM3 Joe Mearshart at plus 240. But I mean, realistically, I think the simplest way to break this down as I'm scrolling around for Bruno's name, Bruno's probably either going to get a knockout, or if he doesn't, at some point, Gerald's going to submit him. That's probably it, right? I mean, so you can get that for like a minus 330 as a parlay piece on DraftKings. I thought that was pretty interesting. If you thought that was the one way or the other, the duality of this fight. So yeah, overall, as we got the stats on, I mean, you can see Silva's pace at distance. I mean, 20 strikes thrown per minute at distance. I mean, he hasn't spent as much time at distance as some other people, only 30%. So whenever he is at distance, he's letting loose. But yeah, he spent almost 60% of his time in opponent control. So if there's one thing that Joe Mearshart could be looking to do here, obviously, it's get that opponent control. But I do think that Silva isn't just like blindly allowing guys to get in on him. And I think that Mearshart, while he does have a decent amount of takedowns per 15, he doesn't have the cleanest entries getting in. And I think a lot of his body lock style and trip type of stuff isn't going to be as effective as him needing to like shoot for a single or a double to really get Bruno grounded here, especially from a strength perspective. But Ashley Gerald comes in, he's going to be the taller guy. He's going to have a reach advantage. So the question is, do you think Gerald's chin holds up? He's not going to be coming in emotional like the Chimaev fight. So I think realistically, he should be able to take the first punch that Silva throws. But is Silva going to avoid being controlled for long enough to land the finish? I mean, at minus 285, I'm not willing to play anything crazy, but I saw that you got Gerald Mearshart. His sub was like plus 500. It looks like DraftKings actually closed the winning methods. So I thought that was kind of interesting. What do you guys think here?
I'm kind of going back and forth on this one. This one's super fucking weird fight happening here. The one thing that is already standing out to me, right? Bruno Silva is the favorite here, right? Sizably.
Yep.
Sizably. Minus 285. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
minus 310. Yeah.
So, and again, and it seems like almost a foregone conclusion that you're going to knock out Mearshart, right? But like, I just like when you look at who he's knocked out in his UFC run, it's Wellington Turman, Andrew Sanchez, and Andrew Sanchez was winning, but then he pokes him in the eye and he's already tired, and then he is just absolutely mentally defeated. And Sanchez already doesn't have a great chin. And then Jordan fucking Wright. Like the dude that no matter what turns into a pumpkin after 3 minutes. Like, no matter what, no matter what, the fight is over.
He's hurt. It's over.
So,
bro, don't kill me.
and then Bruno Silva, is a savage and goes the distance with Alex Pereira in a fight that a lot of people were calling for Bruno to be the winner at a plus 170 underdog. We're not one of those people, luckily. We yes, but it's okay. We made up for it by being on Sean Strickland. So
there you go.
Yes.
And I took prayer there, so I got my money back.
So, like I said, we made up for it. It's a circle. It all comes back around. I guess to my point then is like, okay, so Bruno Silva, as I maybe try to shit on some of his UFC knockouts, maybe they're not the most impressive. I guess Gerald Mearshart's chin is probably in those categories, though. Right? So he doesn't get knocked out by Jocko, which isn't saying much. He gets knocked out by Chimaev, which isn't saying much. It's the knockout losses to Heinich and Hermanson that are super concerning. The ground and pound loss to prime Thiago Santos is fine. Yeah. So the thing with the problem with Bruno Silva is fairly obvious, and it's that he's got 7 losses and 5 of them are by submission. So it's just very difficult to try to lay chalk on somebody that has such a clear hole and their opponent has such a specific clear path to victory. So yeah, I guess Gerald Mearshart by sub or right. That's what TV is talking about at the end of the day. So DraftKings literally has a prop now. You can bet already parlayed for you Gerald Mearshart by sub or Bruno Silva by knockout. Or obviously, if you want to fade that now, Gerald Mearshart by sub and Bruno Silva by decision or something, whatever you like.
What were those odds?
I think it's minus, what was it, TB? 300 or something?
Bruno Silva by KO, Mearshart by sub.
So it was minus 330, but they pulled all the props.
Yeah. I was just about to say, I don't see any props.
Because they had Mearshart sub at plus 500, and it was getting hammered, I imagine. So I think they closed out all the props to reevaluate them. Because I sent that to Guru like right before we went on the show.
Well, so what is he on?
Not up anymore.
What is it on FanDuel? Obviously, they don't have that specific thing we were talking about. But what's the sub? Mearshart by sub is plus 600 on FanDuel. Holy shit! So
FanDuel is a little interesting with its props at times. I can get some weird lines on here, like I got earlier this week. I might as well just fucking say it. One of the biggest plays. I got him at minus 225, and he was around minus 260, pretty much everywhere else on FanDuel. Violence in this fight, right? That's all we got to say. Like everybody during this week has been like Bruno Silva should be your lock of the night. I'm like, how can you overlook his clear hole in his game, in his ground game. And Mearshart can get him there. And yes, Blandito should go out there and just starch him within 45 seconds. He has a speed advantage. He has the power advantage. Gerald Mearshart is slow as fuck.
Yeah.
That's the big qualm that I have with him. And Silva will starch him. That is what I think the most obvious outcome is. But the one that I always harp back on when we have similar matchups to this, where we need a guy that needs a takedown and need a guy that needs a KO, is Mark Hunt against Alexei Olynyk. Nobody expected Olynyk to get Mark Hunt to the ground. Mark Hunt, kind of tough to take down against guys of that nature. But somehow Alexei Olynyk found himself on top of Mark Hunt and gets the submission victory. So it's not impossible that this could happen, which is why I'd rather take the chalk on the fight doesn't go rather than the chalk on Bruno Silva. So I am definitely parlaying the fight doesn't go in the spot.
That's
interesting.
I like that. A little violence parlay. You could parlay that with maybe another fight. You kind of like that same violence.
There's a couple violent spots on this card. We'll talk about one very shortly.
I will say Sicky MMA. Look at that. MMA Facts. So 2016 was his last sub loss, and before that, 2012. So 17-2 since 2012. So you can look into it. He's now a black belt. Yeah, no, I did see. He's a black belt now, and that is interesting to note, because sometimes you see guys with a ton of sub losses on their record. But yeah, I mean, if it hasn't been for a while, maybe he has addressed that clear hole, and maybe we need to respect that a little bit more. Maybe the thing is, maybe if Gerald wins, it could be by decision, because Andrew Sanchez got control and gassed out. So if you want to go crazy fading the narrative, maybe that's what you do.
Here, if you guys want a fact, if we're dropping facts out here, Gerald Mearshart tied all-time number 5 with Mr. Frank Mir for most submission victories in the UFC with 8. Could be number 9 this weekend. I don't think anybody's ever going to catch number 1, though. You guys know who number 1 is, right?
Charles de Bronx.
There you go. He's at 16 right now. He has double the amount of Gerald Mearshart.
Holy shit. So Yasmin Lucindo needs to start off this weekend if she wants to have any hope. 20 years old.
God damn it. What?
Oh, God. All right, well,
that's when he started. Oliveira was like 20 years old. That's why he has a leg up on him.
He was a youngin'. We saw him grow up in the UFC, especially if you guys started watching around like UFC 100. You saw him grow up. You saw him grow up. Max Holloway grow up like crazy.
Yeah, very exciting.
So
I love watching the fighters.
Great. I mean, any final words on that one, boys?
Violence. Parlay it up.
Amen.
So, God damn it! Now we have this fight again. It's the fight. The fights that nobody wants to break down keep reappearing.
Short and sweet. We got.
Sorry, what is this order based on? Where are you getting?
Oh wait, hold on. Oh wait a second. I did my classic thing here because DraftKings had the wrong order. So Lock is.
I don't even know what the right order though.
Saving me. No. I made sure I had the right order. I go by UFC stats because unless they updated, that's like because them and ESPN Fight Center, they're usually linked up, and that's like the order that they'll be showing it on the TV schedule.
Perfect.
But Tapology, they generally have the correct fights that are on.
Yes, that's why I lean on them.
If there's discrepancy in Tapology and UFC stats, that means UFC stats is going to rearrange their order at some point. So that's probably why DraftKings is messed up. Because the next fight was Angie Hill versus Lupi Godinez. Ooh, yeah. I mean, this one a little bit of short notice. They moved it up. Catch weight at 120, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. We caught that. We never do. So that was already a win for Chronic Combat with our high asses. We actually remembered the catch weight fight this time. Godinez minus 325. Angie Hill plus 270. I saw online before. I forget who it was. It could have even been Manpreet, but I forget exactly. But it was like Angie Hill is like the new Sam Alvey. I just thought it was mad funny. I don't know if it's like, legit to like any extent. I was just saying as far as like she's like one of those like, ooh, the value's there, but like, is she gonna come out? Because she's a big dog once again. And once again, are we gonna see another loss? Is she gonna go 13-13 in her career now? Because Lupi, if all things considered, like she's going to go out there with her 12 takedown attempts per 15 minutes and 5.5 takedowns landed per 15 minutes and her 57% control time and the 5 pounds extra of weight she gets to keep on for the gigantic back muscle she has from wrestling her whole life. I mean, Lupi should roll here, right? I mean, Angie's
I think
giving
she
up
also has a wrestler sister too, by the way, like a
Yeah.
savage wrestler sister. Like
big time, like
it's in the gene pool.
in the blood.
It's in the blood.
And they've spent the same exact time at distance also, essentially. Like only like 7 percentage points. That's pretty close given that Loopy's a wrestler and Angie's a striker. And Angie's actually spent like, oh my goodness, I looked at the wrong row. Yeah, Angie spent 70% at distance, Loopy 30% at distance. That makes so much more sense. I was tripping out.
Bro,
This
you're
is-
gonna get
This is why you don't do drugs.
Yeah, you're gonna get cut off, bro. What are you doing?
All right, so that's it. All right, so anyways, I'm on Loopy here. I'm on Loopy by decision because you don't really finish Angie. If Jandiroba couldn't sub her, Loopy's not subbing her. I'll eat my words if it happens, but at the end of the day, Loopy by decision at minus 150 is the chalky prop of the week that hits. Because there's only like one prop at minus money that hits all week as far as like a winning method. I think it's the one this week. I think that's it.
The one. I mean, I wouldn't even mind taking that random stab on Loopy by submission at plus 550. I wonder. I tweeted this out this week. I didn't get too much feedback back other than our boy Schwan. Shout out Schwan, who hit me with a retweet trying to get me an answer. What's Angela Hill's contract situation? How many fights left does she have on it? I'm very I don't want to say concerned, but it's something I'm hyper focused on, as we've seen a ton of fighters, just Uriah Hall, Jessica I, fighters that we like maybe kind of weren't expecting, but kind of were expecting. You know what I mean? Like, she's on at 37 years old. She just got announced she has a new Fight Pass podcast, a Fight Pass exclusive podcast with her girl Jessica Penne. She's got the broadcasting stuff. She's got, a decent following. She's a good-looking girl. Like, I do wonder, what, she gonna make another title run here? Like, she just loves fighting. All she does is bitch about, dude, her last fight. She takes no fucking right. She literally posts, "Oh, I was doing great until Vera wrestle fucked me," and she's got like the one picture of her forearm down on Jandiroba's neck, and whatever. Like, she's just not taking responsibility for her lack of takedown defense. But then she's also not taking responsibility for her lack of, where the fuck is her manager? Why are you taking this fight? Why? This is all for Loopy. This is the name value of Angela Hill. You get to add it to her record. She's a grappler, and Angela Hill can't grapple. Like, who lets her take this fight? It's bitch fucking season, whatever she said. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You don't even strike. What's happening?
Manpreet, where you at here?
Bro, it's bitch
fucking season.
No, it's Angie fucking season, because she can't want to fight. Like she's struggling right now. She's on a 3-fight losing streak. Like, it's not a good look. And okay, legit names too, right? Let's not say she's losing to scrubs here. Tisha Torres, Verna Jandiroba, and Amanda Lemos. Like, not bad names to be losing to. Although she probably should have won that Lemos, right? So she has an argument for that. But let me throw out a narrative that I created on my show earlier today, and I think it might actually be the reason why we're, one, getting this matchup, two, getting it moved up from its original date. This might be the last time we see Angela Hill inside the cage. She is from San Diego. Maybe she just wanted her last fight to be in San Diego. She could take off the gloves. She could call it a career, do analyst shit. Like, that's probably why they moved it up, and even were willing to take that extra 5 pounds. Right, I think it's at 120 pounds, usually at 115. You would think Angela Hill, wanting to keep this fight standing, would want it to be at 115 pounds. You don't want Loopy to have an extra bit of weight. I know it's not going to make a huge difference, but like, if you're thinking about it from that angle, it's absolutely in favor of Loopy to have this fight up extra 5 pounds.
Dude, come on. How meta am I to already be thinking that without knowing that she's from San Diego? Like, come on.
Wow.
Come on. I'm meta. I'm out here, bro.
Yeah.
I'm out here with the stars.
I'm a big Verna Jandiroba fan, but like, her wrestling could use some work, and the fact that she was getting Angela Hill down in the second and third rounds, not a good look. Imagine what Lupi Godinez is going to do here. I am not in agreement in regards to the decision being the only play here. I do think she could potentially get a finish. Let's not forget a spot that I will never forget because I had Angie Hill pretty big, her getting subbed by random motherfucking Marcos, right? Like, it's possible. I don't believe in this, just because fighter A couldn't submit fighter B, that fighter C is not going to be able to submit fighter B. Takashi Sato, right? Bilal motherfucking Muhammad tapped this guy out and Gunnar Nelson couldn't. Like, let's just put that into perspective as well. So either it's a sub by Lupi Godinez, either it's a TKO from on top by just dominating with the wrestling. But that's why I'm struggling. Like, I wouldn't mind. I honestly wouldn't even mind laying the chalk on her. Fucking 2.7 units on minus 270. I think she definitely wins this fight. Yeah. That's why I'm not so confident on the method here. I don't mind taking that shot there, or even parlaying her with violence from a couple other fights. Excuse me. But yeah,
I think
Lupi wins. Lupi rolls.
Yeah, she's probably, as shout out to our boy Uncle Wheezy, that's got to be the ass shaving of the week.
I don't know. There's another one in contention, bro. There's another one. We're still getting there.
Ooh, okay. We got lots more fights with our guy, Lock of the Night. Make sure you're following him. He does. I mean, I don't know how you wouldn't be. He does a million fucking shows. He does another show with our awesome friend Clint. He does that bi-weekly, right? So that's every 2 weeks. Yep. You guys do another one with the prediction strike stocks, right? That's fucking super cool.
That one is just strictly pay-per-view events. So pay-per-view fight weeks, we do a full prediction strike breakdown where we're
sick. Looking at
just
stocks.
breaking down prediction strikes. It's so sick.
I think that's so awesome.
If you guys aren't on prediction strike already, I would highly suggest going on. It's you might as well take advantage of it. I'll talk to you guys about it in the DMs and stuff, but like, check it out. You guys have access to it in the US. I don't up here in Canada, but yeah, trust me, you can make some good money off of it.
Yeah, definitely. I like making money. So
that's why we're here.
It is. That is true. That and breaking down fights, and our good friend is in the building. Come on.
Yes,
sir. That's right.
Our guy here.
All right. So next up.
Ceilings.
Wait.
Yes.
I was just about to ask for that. Yeah. You got it. You're amazing.
I know.
Before I could even ask, he already had it. That's a good co-host.
I'm a real one. Listen, I'm out here, man. I've been listening to hip hop for like religiously, and it's nothing for Manpreet, who's already been listening for early longer, like at least 11 years, like just like I'm just like into it.
I find it's not so much nowadays, but back in the day.
Yeah, I'm still plugged in now. At least I try to be.
Yeah.
So here we go. I mean, we got in our next fight here, we got Martin Budai versus Lukasz Briske. And I mean, personally, I think this fight is going to be
Hey, whoa.
Listen. Okay, so I think for the first 4 minutes of this fight, it's going to be a technical striking battle from distance, and then Briske is going to gas out or maybe he'll make it to the second round this time. But it seems to be the pattern that like once Briske has to put on any sort of like physical pace at all, he's just kind of like holding on at that point. And then Budai is kind of like very similar too. So in the early going, either guy could put each other away. I could see a Budai round one knockout. Briske, I don't know if he could get the round one knockout, but he's going to be swinging at least. But yeah, I guess overall, I do think it's appropriate for Budai to be the favorite. But I'm not so sure that I'm running to do the minus 275 deal on Budai.
No, when I was scouting the fight, I was like, please Budai be the underdog. Please Budai be the underdog for whatever reason. Like I was just hoping that it would be the other way, and he wasn't. And I was like, okay, well, I'm like, that makes sense. I lined Budai at least like minus 200 anyway. As I'm watching tape on Briske, like I'm just writing all the negative things that I'm watching in him, whether he's overthrowing himself out of position, whether it's the poor striking defense, whether he's chasing the sub over position and giving up full mount against Potter in his last fight, or like, literally his last fight. He's like, he's got questionable cardio. When you're throwing a million fucking strikes and gassing yourself out, then you have questionable fight IQ. There's a ton of red flags to me. And then you look on the other side where Budai, sure, It's hard it's hardly like just all roses and flowers with the guy, but at the same time, I know that he's a technical striker. He will hold dudes against the cage. He's got good, strong underhooks. He's got good head position when he's doing that. And what I saw that was really impressive in the Chris Barnett fight, at least, I saw somebody that slows down like the pace of his opponent. It's with his own pressure and the way he scares them all. Like he makes it his fight. So when you see Briske, who needs to come out and throw fucking bombs, like I wonder how much he'll actually be able to do that if he gets cracked a couple times. He might be like, "Whoa, what the fuck," and not want to do that. So TB already, I thought, said it perfectly. I like Budai. I don't love minus 250 or whatever the fuck. It's, not all lines are created equally. So if you're going to lay a heavy favorite, you're laying a heavy favorite on Loopy. You're not laying the heavy favorite here. Otherwise you're searching for props. And yeah, that's interesting too. I don't think you ever did. And then what else? Yeah. Budai should get it done. Is this one of the fights we take that violent spot in? I just felt that he didn't like finish Chris Barnett, so I don't know.
He was on pace too. He was absolutely.
What do you think?
There was only a minute or so left in that fight. Yeah, I'm done rambling. What do you got?
If I was Sicky does MMA, I might call it a lock of the night play. I just might, maybe I am.
Yeah, I really think that Bresky's like not like I was like, as I'm writing my notes, I have my way of doing it, and I'm just like, I have a positive sign and a negative sign. I'm just like writing all this shit in the negative. I'm like, when do I get to write something good about the poor guy? And that's generally a sign for me that I don't want to bet that person.
Yeah, like I could tell I was a little bit baked during your breakdown there, because for some reason I thought you were listing all those points as Budai's like weak points, like he overstrikes and he slows down. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy watching? What are you?
No, that's Bresky.
I was stripping. I know. I was stripping out. Once I figured out, I'm like, okay, good. I'm glad he's not saying this about Budai. I'm like, I want whatever he's smoking if that's how he's breaking it down. Either way, no, bro, I love his pace. I love his forward moving style. There aren't a lot of guys that you see that always move forward. Like 90% of the time you're watching this guy, he's moving forward. There's no times where he's really taking a back step. He puts the pressure on his opponents, whether it's with his combinations. I love that he throws in combinations. He doesn't just pot shot these guys. He overwhelms them with pace, stalking, and combinations, and then obviously gets them to the cage and roughs them up there, slows them down there, uses his beautiful knees to the body, just suck out that energy of these guys, and use the dirty boxing in the clinch there. I love what I see from this guy, and he uses his weight and his power and his strength so effectively, in my opinion. And
someone that cuts to 265, mind you.
Yeah, and I think the story is that he was 375, being a gamer that gamed 20 hours a day, and then found MMA and has been murdering motherfuckers ever since. His only loss is Juan Espino in his second ever fight, and we know how good Juan Espino is. Like Juan Espino at fucking 39, whatever the fuck he's at, is amazing. Imagine him back then when he beat Budai, right? So, I think Budai walks through this guy. From what I've seen, his durability looks completely fine. Nobody has even put him close to being in trouble in terms of being on the feet. Lorenzo Hood hit him with the fucking hood of a car and still couldn't knock this guy out, right? Or even make him stumble at all. So I don't think Brzezinski will be able to land that big shot to hurt him. I think he just walks him down, pushes him up against the cage, slowly drains him of his energy. I think he gets him out of there. This was the guy that I was talking about. I got a minus 225 on FanDuel earlier this week, while other bookies were holding minus 250, minus 260. I don't mind this line. Like, I truly feel the strongest about Budai and Godinez this weekend. You can parlay them together if you want. I was happy I got the minus 225.
I was also just looking at that. The parlay right now on FanDuel is minus 145, which makes me very sad.
I
love plus money.
But I think it's so spot. I think it's a spot, bro. I think Martin Budai wrecks him, and I'm even going to go as far as calling my shot round 2 TKO. Even round 2, you're getting plus 400, so I'm going to be sprinkling a little bit of that as well.
We love that. Oh my goodness! And when you look at the striking styles too, it's just like Budai has that really nice tight guard. That's not probably how you do it, but you get a nice tight high guard for Budai, and Briske keeps his hands down like a fool.
He slows down so much. Like, I don't know how he's eking out some of these decisions against these fucking tomato cans on the regional scene, but like, yeah, he's gonna.
And TB loves a little Dana White Contender Series fade, which I hadn't heard him say. So just a little bit of Dana White.
Well, but he's not the favorite, but I get it. You're still fading him. So
I guess the other guys he fought Lorenzo Hood on Contender Series.
Yeah,
so
it was actually, I think it was Brzezinski that was actually supposed to fight Lorenzo Hood, and then Brzezinski pulled out, and Hood pulled out, and he stepped in against fucking Budai, and then we saw Brzezinski face Dylan Potter on super short notice. So the guys are kind of connected ever so slightly.
Is this deja vu? What is happening with these fights?
Yeah.
There's another one that we don't want to break down again.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Really fast.
Is this the third time this is booked or second? Is it second or third? I'm having nightmares about it. Yeah.
Second. Really fast. Calvillo minus 180. Nunes plus 155. I was on Nunes last time plus 155. The fact that they had to rebook it on her account sketches me out. I'm just not betting this fight at all because I don't want Calvillo at minus 180.
That's fair. And you're probably right on that. You don't want to play this with your own hard-earned money. You don't want to play it with grandma's couch cushion money. You do this if you're a degenerate, like a complete piece of shit. Like if you want to be a piece of shit, we can all play this fight together. I lean Calvillo, I guess, by decision. I originally liked Nunes, like we said, but getting the fight stopped on her account now. Her fight was supposed. I just thought this was an interesting psychological aspect for me. Her fight was supposed to happen before her wife's title shot, right? So now it's after her wife's title win. Did they go out and celebrate? Did they go have a good time? Like what? I mean, like, I don't know that they were.
I think they're disciplined. I think they're disciplined enough. Like, you don't take this lightly, in my opinion. But continue. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah,
you are right. They are the consummate professional, at least in that respect. Are we seeing another person like put down the gloves though at 36? Yeah, I don't know. I don't want really any part of this fight.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure who I'm in a circle.
Yeah, there's two fights on this card that I'm acting like aren't even happening from a betting perspective. This is numero uno.
Yeah.
I don't even fuck it. Just move on.
All right. Fair enough. I agree, man. Yeah. Hell yeah. So our next one.
Damn. So I was the only piece of shit that tried to break that one down.
Nah, I love you guys. Honestly.
Yeah. You're the best, bro. I appreciate
that energy for the Cruz and Vera.
But you're 100% right.
Exactly.
I'm trying to make something out of nothing, and you guys are at least smarter and not trying to do that.
There's 12 other fights, dog.
Yeah.
How much of a degenerate are you?
Yeah, you're right.
So we got Gabriel Benitez. Oh God, you want to know how much of a degenerate we are? Oh God, let's get to this fight then.
Hey, I might be right there with you, depending on what you're talking about.
We got Gabriel Benitez minus 350, Charlie Ontiveros plus 290. Fucking give me Charlie Ontiveros at plus 290. Let's go.
Yeah. So hang on. Let me say why. Let me say why I'll be on Gabriel, and then give me what you told me like just before that kind of got me on to Charlie.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
So I liked Gabriel because like Charlie Ontiveros doesn't belong in the UFC. It's a problem. Thank you. We love you, Mushroom. We appreciate that. That's funny as hell. I don't know why this poor guy gets a debut against Kevin Holland, but he does and gets absolutely murdered, slammed on his neck, terrible. And then he gets in one of the craziest fights ever with Steven Garcia, gets knocked out like 3 or 4 times, like before it's like, all right, this one's finally done. He hurt Steve Garcia, which is cool, right? With his like one strike landed or whatever he's been able to do. He's a great striker. He's flashy. He just doesn't actually generally hit anybody, and he has not been very successful in the UFC. The problem is that Mowgli Benitez at 34 years old. I don't know that he's definitely not going to grapple per se, right? Like at 0.14. So that's kind of could be problematic, especially since he doesn't have a great chin of his own. But I don't know. I liked Mowgli to get it done. He's got those great leg kicks. Charlie Ontiveros was like a tree. But as I was almost kind of saying, let's go back to TB. Why are we on Charlie?
All right, fuck it. I mean, Charlie, every single guy that's fought him so far has been like, fuck fighting from distance. I'm going to take this guy down. And the one guy that, like, for 5 seconds forgot to stick to the game plan, which did the same exact thing against Mahashata, was our friend Steve Garcia. I mean, come on, dude. You got to stick to the game plan. That's why spinning a kicker. So, like whatever the fuck Charlie Ontiveros does, it's unorthodox. It looks stupid. He looks like Sideshow Bob. But at the end of the day, the dude's got a 6-inch height advantage, a 7-inch reach advantage, and he throws like crazy kicks where Benitez is like a traditional striker. He throws those crazy leg kicks. But I just don't think there's a reason on any planet why Gabriel Benitez should ever be minus 350. And that doesn't mean that Ontiveros is guaranteed to win. That doesn't mean I'm throwing $5,000 on Charlie Ontiveros. Like, this is a pure degenerate play. I'm expecting, like Wheezy and Brady to be like at my door to pull me away, to hit me with a bag of oranges.
1-800-GAMBLERS.
Yeah, 1-800 like. But I mean, I'm on Charlie Ontiveros here because I think it's more fun that way if you treat this fight like realistically. Just play this fight to end by knockout because Ontiveros has no problem being finished and Benitez gets knocked down aplenty. But yeah, I mean, realistically, like Benitez, probably wins, but that's no fun to do that.
I honestly don't even think so anymore, and that's what
Ooh.
I'm saying. It's like, as you're saying it, it's like you need to take this guy down. So you have to be at least willing to, and he's not. Gabriel Benitez has 12 UFC fights and 2 takedowns attempted. He is not taking Charlie Ontiveros down. He is going to stand at range with this guy. And I don't know that that's going to go well. I think you're actually right. I think Ontiveros is my guy Hamdi this week. Like,
oh, no.
It might be fun. Dude, who'd we have? We had our boy on and
Brady, yeah.
We had our Brady on and I was like on Hamdi and he literally is like, whoa. And come on, baby. Come on.
Hey, sometimes MMA Twitter and people like to call us a capper click. It can be an echo chamber at times, right? And you got to be firm and stand firm on some of your picks, right? I felt I was on the island next week with Jeff Neal. I mean, it seemed like
I had Jeff Neal. Dude, I went
I talked him off of it. That's the problem.
Oh.
You didn't stay on it.
I know. I didn't. That's not true at all. I picked him. I just didn't. I went out drinking and not watching the fights. I didn't bet them properly. I went perfect on my picks. I went 9-0.
Yeah.
And of course, that's the week I'm not actively gambling.
Shout out, Mac. You were so right about the Egyptian wrestling. I'm a disgrace. That's all I'll say. Shout out, Mac. We love you, buddy. Hope to see you again at CFFC. 100%. That was awesome.
You're right. You have to sometimes just separate yourself from that. That's why I do all my tape. I do all my shit before I even take in what anybody else is saying about specific matchups. I don't even look at the odds. I come up with my own odds, or I come up with my own feeling about a fight. Then I'll look at the odds, make the bet, and then ingest what everybody else is saying. In regards to this Charlie Ontiveros fight, like, you are right. I am a huge Gabriel Benitez dick rider. Absolutely, I love the guy. Yeah. But the last time I'm playing big chalk on him was when he's facing guys like Justin James. That's the spot you take a shot on. Not a big guy like Charlie Ontiveros, who has shown he can hit guys early and hurt them and make it look rough. Gabriel Benitez, 4 losses out of his last 5 fights, 3 of those being via finish. This might be the decline. It might be the deterioration of Gabriel Benitez's durability. Charlie Ontiveros could absolutely crack that chin. The way that I'm looking at it, though, being even more of a degenerate here, I'm thinking a half-unit stab on Charlie Ontiveros round 1 at plus 900.
Ooh, I like
Dude, the other 1.5 is at minus 265-ish. Like, that's reserved for Terrence McKinney fights and Bo Nickel beating up on bums.
Damn.
That Bo Nickel guy is good.
But either Benitez gets him out of there or Ontiveros gets him out of there. What I'll be doing is parlaying. The fight doesn't go to decision for this fight with the Bruno Silva Gerald Meerschaert fight doesn't go to decision with Lupi Godinez. That will be my parlay that I want to put together.
Oh, I like that.
But Ontiveros, round 1 plus 900. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
That's like basically his win condition. No?
It is.
Yeah.
And you're giving us plus 900. There's certain guys that, like, if you get a whack enough number on them, it's worth taking the shot, right? Abdul Razak Al Hassan. That is the guy that I'll always hate myself for not taking the shot on him against Alessio Di Carico.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big dog there, and you're giving plus 400 or plus 500 on him to win in round 1. Of course. Fucking Otman Azatar against Kamaworthy, plus 300 round 1 KO.
Oh my god.
No duh, I'm taking that.
Yeah.
So this might be one of those spots for Charlie Ontiveros against the guy with the diminishing chin. Take advantage of that plus 900.
That makes a lot of sense to me, man. Yeah, that's why we love having you, Mir, among other reasons. But you're such a fucking legend, man.
I feel like we are like burning in a rotation right now and just passing this pen around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We've all been taking our turns on our
I should just like make it look like I'm passing it to you guys. And you guys just reach over and grab something else. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, make the trip. Come meet us in November at MSG. Let's pull up.
I might. Honestly, me and my wife haven't even taken a honeymoon together yet. So that's the main thing that I'm looking to
you got to do that.
Take care of first.
Yeah,
I am going to see the weekend in September, but that's all up here in Toronto. But,
right. Dude, but Izzy Pereira, and then it seems like unconfirmed, but Chandler and Poirier.
Yes, and possibly 5 rounds. I don't know. I have never done MSG before. I've done, like I told you guys before we went live. MSG. I went to New York New Jersey for a couple big fights.
No, you have
went
to
Philly.
MSG.
Never done MSG yet.
Have you done New York? Have you done New York City?
One day for like 3 hours. That was it, and that was a trip that I came out to New Jersey in.
Right. Yeah, no, that is. I gotta
do it.
That's obviously not enough. Yeah, I mean MSG. Jeez.
You know what I really want to do though is the Apex again. Like that fucking experience. Like no other.
So
I don't care what kind of card it is. Just being in that, and it just feels like a underground rich person's fight club, essentially. We have some of the best fighters in the world just fighting for your entertainment, and like 50 to 100 other people, barely 100 people.
That is really cool. That is really cool. I definitely like that. I would if I ever went to Vegas, I would do that too. That's pretty fucking cool.
It's pricey. It is pricey. I'll say that.
Yeah. It's like over $2,000 at least, right?
Canadian, it was over $2,000. US, like it's like it starts at $1,250 and then it goes up or down depending on the demand.
Yeah.
Like Yair and Max was like $2,250 per ticket.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
Hey, open bar though.
Right, open bar.
True, yeah.
You get fucking sloshed.
Wow, we got Ode Osborne versus Tyson Nam. Speaking of getting fucking sloshed. Tyson Nam, that's a good question. Didn't he have a pullout at some point?
He's had 2.
He had knee surgery. He had tore his ACL, and he had to get knee surgery to get it repaired. Now he's in Hawaii training with Max Holloway's coaches.
Ooh, so that is a very interesting detail.
You mind if I kick this one off just to be a little?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh my god,
yeah.
This guy's 38 years old, right? So that's a big red flag right off the bat there. But this guy is one of the heaviest hitters at the lower weight classes, right? 12 KOs out of his 20 total victories. Like the guy has a lot of pop in his shots. He put out Ali Bagutinov, who ironclad chin for the most of his career. The guy has big power. He has upset ability in this matchup against Ode Osborne. Ode, we saw him slow down in that 3rd round against CJ Vergara. Tyson Nam was down against Matt Shaw in his last fight. He put it on him, didn't get him out of there. But I am taking those chances on Tyson Nam to potentially get Ode out of there should this fight go into that 3rd round. Ode's good. He's skilled. But I just feel like he leaves a little bit too many openings in his striking that Tyson Nam, long guy himself in terms of being tall, maybe not the reach that Ode has, but he'll still be able to get to that target just as quickly, in my opinion. So, I'm hoping that the guys over there at the Max Holloway's gym have kind of kicked him in the butt with his output. That's usually been his kind of knock, is that he just doesn't throw enough. And if he threw enough, his power probably would likely translate a little bit more. But I think he's 38. He has 3 fights left on his contract. I think this will likely be the end of the road for him, but I think he has one less bang left in him. And I think he could do it here against Ode. So Tyson Nam KO. I'm leaning. A lot of people saying violence, but Tyson Nam is difficult to put away. With last finish coming via knockout to Marlon Moraes during the heyday of Marlon Moraes over there in the WSOF. Since then, has been able to take big shots and keep coming forward. So I think this is a tough matchup for O'Day, and I think that Tyson Nam could pull it away. I think the odds are a little bit wide. I do agree O'Day deserves to be the favorite, but I think at a certain point we'll see Nam chin check him and get him out of there. And again, don't do the whole "he could have knockout match." No, again, fucking see Sugar Sean O'Malley trying to knock out Chris Moutinho, and then Guido Canetti putting him out in fucking a minute.
Right.
So many examples I can come up with, but please continue.
It is what it is, right? As Max.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I get the angle. Ultimately, I'm on the side of, not being able to teach all dogs new tricks. But if Nam comes out with that type of approach, then yeah, my O'Day Osborne by decision pick is going to be looking pretty bad. I just feel like at this point, Osborne is going to be able to pull out on those first 2 rounds. And he has shown the willingness, even if he doesn't really land like the takedown, like against CJ Vergara, he's at least willing to like try to clinch if he needs to, just like buy himself a little time to reset or anything like that. And I think Tyson Nam, even though
Vergara's a little stud too.
Yeah. What was that? Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I think, you got to give O'Day props for putting on a good performance and showing that, yeah, he could definitely win by decision as well as by finish. I mean, he's versatile in his attack, and I think that we might see a little bit more of his wrestling. I think having such a distinct reach advantage, it gives you an advantage in the striking, but also sometimes in the grappling, it allows you to really get the connection on the body lock and really control your trips. Or when you're shooting for the double, like it makes it so much easier to really get your grip secure when you're on a person that can't really get to that separating, getting their own wrist control and keeping you from really securing your own takedowns. So I think while Nam has been successful in the past, I think it might be like that Kevin Holland versus Derek Brunson moment where we see that first takedown because, 100% takedown defense. There's only been 4 takedowns attempted on Tyson Nam in his career. He's only had 5 fights in the UFC. So it's not like, he has good hips. He shows all the right stuff. But, I mean, I wouldn't put it past O'Day Osborne to, a guy that shoots 4 takedowns per 15. He's going to be in there trying to do it. The thing is that he's only 14%.
He shot all 7 of his takedown attempts versus CJ Vergara and went 1 for 7. That's all in that one fight.
Yeah, but I don't think he knocks out Nam. I think he's going to respect the power and really just be popping out and moving.
But see, that's exactly.
Well, so I think O'Day decision plus 215.
Nam round 3 plus 1800.
That's spicier.
That is very, very spicy. I guess I don't have too much to say about this fight other than when you're a striker like Tyson Nam and the striking numbers aren't in your favor, I don't really like it for you. Time isn't on your side. Size isn't on your side. You look at the strikes landed per minute. Oh, it's, a little bit closer. But when you go to that pace at distance and opponent pace at distance, that's the fucking picture painter. O'Day Osborne, 13.13 pace at distance. Strikes pace at distance, where he's got Tyson Nam has 11, but his opponent pace is much lower at 9.3, whereas Tyson Nam's getting outstruck at distance by 3 strikes. So we already know that Tyson Nam doesn't throw a lot, and O'Day Osborne's already landing more than his opponents. That's not great. So I like Lock's thought in that, okay, maybe O'Day does dominate the first 2 rounds and maybe he gets tired and then Nam finally lands that bomb. It's probably more likely that he just kind of wins a decision. So I like TV's bet too. You guys did a great job. What can I say? I got the sharpest cappers in the game on my team here. So I don't got too much to do. That's why I sit back and smoke.
All right. Well, I mean, without further ado, we are moving on to nearly closing out the card here. We got 2 fights, and one of them, hey, look at that. It's deja vu again for the last time. So fuck it. I mean, real quick thoughts here. The idea is that Quinlan starches Witt if he's able to connect early because Witt's zero chin approach is, a thing. But this fight's at 180. But it's also cutting weight again for a second week in a row. So which one is more beneficial for who? So like Jason Witt, he's 6 years older. He looked like he had a little bit of a rougher cut down to 170 than Quinlan does. So now that he's got to go down to 180, sure, it's easier, but it's still, you know, you got to respond to doing a second cut on a shorter notice and everything like that. So I'm curious to see what they look like.
But he's also the grappler where the 10 pounds could actually really help him here. That's super. That's interesting.
For sure.
The only problem then is his chin is still terrible and he's still old. So it's like this must be the other fight that's not happening for Lock and from a gambling perspective, right?
No, actually, it's another one that we still haven't talked about. But
wow. I don't mind this one. I thought it would be this one because Quinlan is so. I thought with the steroids and him being out for a while and
still fun
and all
to
that
watch.
Stuff. Yeah.
He's still fun to watch. Like, I'm excited to see him come into UFC and see what he does, right? I don't like the fact that he only has 5 fights, right? We need somebody with a little bit of more experience, in my opinion, but it's hard to look past Jason Witt's durability issues and seeing what Josh Quinlan's been able to do, starching some guys, even going late into fights and submitting them later in fights. Like, it seems like he could have all the tools. The question comes, though, are you willing to take the chalk on a guy that just got popped by USADA? And, like, how will that potentially affect his career moving forward? He might still have some picograms in his system, hence why them making this fight so quickly thereafter. But again, like a whole training camp, hopefully without the full cycle that this man was possibly on, right? What does that help him with? So sit in the wait approach for me. Like if he can go out there and knock out Jason Witt, okay, maybe he is what we think he is to a certain extent. But I don't want to get caught with my hand in the cookie jar here at minus 250 on a relatively unproven guy against legit competition.
Man, that was so professional. Don't want to get my hand in the cookie jar. That was excellent. That was great.
Yeah, got to learn a thing or two every now and then.
That was excellent.
I suck at talking, but sometimes I'll pull one out of my ass like, hey, whoa, wait.
That was good. I
didn't know I had that one, did you?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I like that one. The thing though, with you mentioned the Dallas Jennings fight where he gets the submission later in the fight.
Yeah.
But like he gets rocked by Dallas Jennings in round 2. And what I also have kind of seen is like when we're talking about his knockout power, at least from what I saw, he does not have one punch knockout power. It seems like he's got power, but it seems more like an accumulation of strikes. Like as you see, his knockouts have really only because he's got his 32-second knockout in his debut, but otherwise it's a round 2 knockout, a round 3 knockout, and then that round 3 submission versus Dallas Jennings, who got really fucking tired after dealing with all that activity from Quinlan.
But the thing is, Witt, like he could go out there and have success against you, like
and then still lose,
a row fight, and then still go out there and get murked.
100%.
So, Quinlan seems like that guy could just body him at any point in this fight.
Yeah, so they really give Quinlan an easy way, and you're right. That's true. I like playing devil's advocate, but to what end? To what end?
This is the other fight that I really don't give a fuck about.
Oh wow! So
continue.
Yeah. So no, that's fair. I mean, Yusuf Zalal versus Damon Blackshear, and Zalal dropping down weight. He's been to decision all 6 times in his career. He's kind of a spam wrestler without getting finishes and without really being successful on his takedowns on a consistent basis against higher level competition. He's been controlled. He likes controlling, but not really throwing tons of strikes while doing it. But overall, I mean, he throws a decent pace at distance, and his defense is pretty solid, like 69% for the.
Hey,
get your hand up.
Hey, get your hand out of the gutter. What are you doing?
For the 41% time that he spends at distance, he's actually not so bad. It's just like he's got no. It's like Dom Cruz without the elite movement, or real volume and ability.
Don't diss my guy. Don't diss my guy Dominic Cruz.
Exactly. Yeah. So, anyways, So basically, if you take away all the skills and all the accolades and made him a 3-3 fighter in the UFC.
Sorry,
you know what it is. But you know what it is. It's Phil funny, Lock, because we were kind of talking. You had mentioned it before, though. The thing is like TB has absolutely no nostalgia factor. He's a very he's an avid UFC fan, but he's a more recent UFC fan. So he has no nostalgia for any of these guys. So he may be looking at it from a less emotional point of view. So I'm somewhere in the middle where I kind of hated Dominic Cruz. I was huge on Cody Garbrandt, and I loved that. But like I was the definition of a casual fan at that point. But now I like to consider myself an avid fan.
Oh, you
to the point where
you are diehard.
I do. I like to think so. I appreciate.
Do you guys
that,
just on a separate note? Do you guys like go back and like watch shit from like the UFC 100s and stuff? Like you guys go that deep?
Well, I have Fight Pass. Sometimes at like like a Locky late night kind of thing. Like I will definitely get a little and watch those. I used to watch. I'll be honest though, I used to watch them a lot more when I was doing a lot less tape all the time.
Same.
So it's it's difficult to like want to, because occasionally like, there's other fucking shows I want to watch, let alone other sports I need to watch.
Yeah.
So
I've always said to myself,
love old fights. I love old fights.
I've always said to myself that I'm just going to find an evening I can sit down and just watch like the UFC 139 main card from beginning to end, because that fucking card was fire, right? Shogun Hendo won, fucking Vanderlei Silva against Kung Lee, like fucking amazing fights. But I already watched so many goddamn fights that I don't know if on my spare time I just want to watch more fights.
You got to take a time to do it, or you do it in one of those times where it's like you can have like, I don't know, you're gonna clean your whole room or some shit. You kind of put it on in the background and you're doing other shit while you have it on.
Even then, I'll put podcasts on though. Like
that's so true. I love music, so I'm always listening.
Yeah, exactly that too.
Yeah, during Christmas break when you're missing fights, it's like a whole month off.
That's
and you're like, oh, I need to watch some of my favorites or learn some more stuff. But I never do that stuff. I'm never the nostalgic type.
He never went back. I'm a history nerd, so like when you get
sports, if you guys need recommendations, I got you.
Sports that I love and history what I love, you get it together.
So many good fights out there.
So many.
Appreciate you, Manpreet.
When I just want to drop Andre Arlovsky versus Travis Brown. If you haven't seen that, go watch.
I love that one. Oh,
hilarious fight.
I did. I think I've seen the highlights, like the like what happened. I don't know if I saw the whole
Arlovsky had Brown looking like Bambi that night. Like it was fucking hilarious how much he rocked him there.
Oh my god,
crazy!
Yeah,
3-minute fight.
I love some of that shit. Oh man, that stuff's amazing.
Wow.
But yeah, anyways, I mean, Yusuf Salal's not gonna. He's not Dominic Cruz. He's not.
Thank you.
And he like minus 125. I mean, he is fighting someone out of Jackson Wink. So if there is anyone that might come out with a horrible game plan or whatever, but Damon Blackshear, I mean, he's coming out of CFFC. He was the champ. And he just seems like solid all around. He's got, pretty good grappling. He's only lost to the best of the best on the regional scene. I mean, I am including Moutinho in that, but it is what it is.
Lost to name. So anyway, I'm on Damon Blackshear here at plus 100. I like
plus 105 on DraftKings.
Exactly. So I'm gonna take a little and not heavy. I like Grandma's couch cushion with it, and I certainly still want to see some way-offs and face-ins, face-offs and weigh-ins. I do that shit.
Face-offs and face-ins.
Face-ins and way-offs. It's funny. But so that's what I'm saying. So his loss to Danny Sabatello, Bellator stud, high-level grappler. His loss to Pat Sabatini in a title fight, high-level grappler. We're gonna gloss over the Chris Matino one, and
never happened.
Right, it never happened. Keith Richardson split decision, and Keith Richardson's somebody that's been around the block a little bit. You look at his amateur tape; he's got a win and a loss to Tony Gravely, so another good grappler. What I watch from Damon Blackshear though is that he can get taken down a little bit at times, but he fights for the underhooks to stay up at first. And then when you take him down, he tends to get right back up. He's very good at getting back up. And what I've also seen is improvements in his jiu-jitsu game and his grappling game, watching from the Pat Sabatini fight to even his last fight with Josh Smith, which, maybe takes a little longer than you want, but he's just kind of like not doing what you'd want him to do on Dana White Contender Series, but what you want to do if you want to be in the UFC and win fights. And that's, I think, why you see him kind of skip that hurdle like some of his other counterparts and not have to do the Dana White Contender Series, which is on right now. And, and he's getting to fight Yusuf Zalal here. What's interesting is that his obvious kryptonite is the grappling, and that seems to be where Yusuf wants to go. However, what glares out on tape with Yusuf Zalal is his lack of technique with the grappling. It's Daniel Cormier is calling his fight with Sung Woo Choi and is ripping him to shreds about it. It's glaring. Sean Woodson, it's even tougher because Sean Woodson's so tall, so you can't get him down. And the Ilya Taporia loss, whatever, we can overlook. But if you have somebody with Damon Blackshear who's still going to be, slightly bigger and going to be more active on the feet, I just kind of like the dog shot. I like the fight going the distance as well, but I assume that that's going to be chalky as fuck. So, yeah, I just like kind of a little bit of a dog sprinkle here.
I legitimately have no thoughts that would provide anybody with valuable insight for this matchup. I can't get a grasp on these guys at all. It's a pass. This fight's not happening in my eyes.
That's totally fair. Because, even if you realistically, it's a very much a sit back and watch opportunity too. Sit back and learn, I should say.
Yes,
because because Damon Blackshear obviously has a brand new contract that he's gonna be testing out, so we're gonna see him at least 3 more times here in the UFC. And right, that's how he's here, and I assume he signed a contract. And Yusuf Zalal, I believe,
chopping block
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is the chopping block. This is probably the last fight of his contract here, so this is very much the chopping block. And I'll
offer up this at least. Damon Blackshear against Matteo Vogel. I'm very familiar with Matteo Vogel. He Canadian guy, very high level jiu-jitsu player as well. You could obviously see it in that fight. So many transitions back and forth. Damon did very well in that fight, so hats off to him. But Matteo is one of those guys that, in my opinion, will sell out for like the jiu-jitsu side of things a little bit too much, to the point that he's losing minutes and losing rounds based off of that. So weird fight for me all in all. In terms of a prediction, I'll go Zalal, but I have little to no interest here. The only thing maybe, but I'm not this type of guy, is taking the over 2.5 at -230. I hate overs. I hate them. I don't know what it is. I can never get them like totally down. But I think this one goes over 2.5.
I like that.
I think it probably goes the distance as well. I do like that. I do wonder if Zalal puts himself in a bad enough position if Damon could somehow get a fucking submission. That would be very interesting. But realistically, neither of these guys have ever lost by finish in their professional careers, and I don't necessarily see it happening here.
That kind of hurt me. I missed the over 2.5 in the main event last week, or I'm sorry, the co-main event last week.
That crushed
29 seconds.
Dude, I had a lottery parlay with the under 3.5 in the Santos and Hill fight. Missed by 1 second. 1 fucking second. It finished at 2:31 of round 4.
1 second.
Oh my goodness.
Come on, Jamal, put it together.
1 second. No.
Yeah, I mean, wow, we did it. We made it through the card. To give you like the idea of what my best ideas as far as plays were. I had the Ode Osborne, Marlon Vera. I played a little earlier in the week. I parlayed them for +107. Threw a few units on that. I'm going to be following that up with a Loopy and Budai parlay for the same amount. We'll throw 3 units on each. I'll also throw like David Onama on top, and like maybe a little Bruno Silva. Even like Gabriel Benitez, like if you're going to have like these crazy parlays to build out, like I don't think I'll be using him so much anymore. But like, that was it. And then the goofy play, we're going with Charlie Ontiveros. So
I don't think that's so goofy at all.
Yeah.
I really don't. We see wonky lines time after time. You know that there are tons of these awesome winning cappers that are just winning, being, I don't want to be like rude out, the glorified dog hunters. Like they're out here sniping the right dogs, and they just fucking kill it. Playing favorites or parlaying favorites is not a winning way in MMA. It's just not. over long term.
I'll say this. Recently, I've been on the best run of my career, probably just based off of straight picks alone. Don't be scared of chalk in the right places, though. Like, just through my bet MMA record alone, you can see that I cashed them with an 18% ROI on big favorites because I'm able to call them that well. Yes. Wow. It is a landmine, and you're gonna look like a dumbass with like egg on your face, taking minus 270 on a certain spot, right? Like maybe it's the David Onama spot, maybe it's the fucking Gabriel Benitez spot this week. There's always going to be one of those spots, but you got to traverse it correctly. But mix that in with a good amount of underdogs as well. I do very well on slight underdogs, so yeah, don't be scared of the chalk. Just know when to bring it out and be selective about it. That's it.
That's a very good. That's from an OG right there. And you've been betting gambling for a lot longer than we have. So I definitely take that advice to heart.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, hey, I mean, we made it.
We did it.
I can't believe that's it. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean,
only 2 hours, a short one.
Yeah. Any final words here?
I've been live streaming for 5 hours today.
That's it, huh?
That's
5 out of my last 14 hours of being awake. To sitting in this chair and talking to people.
Lazy, bro. Lazy. Come on, where's that work ethic? Come on.
Do it.
Nah,
it should have been 7 hours today. What am I talking about?
7? What? 8? 9? What do you need to do? Eat? Shower? Talk to people? What are you talking about now? Seriously, one of the most hardworking guys in the.
I love you guys. Honestly, you guys are fucking legit. I fucking love doing the show with you guys. It's just so much fun. Feels like we've known each other for fucking forever. Whenever I do come down to New Jersey, or whenever you guys come on up here to Toronto,
I'd love to come.
We'll make sure we link up, watch some fights, get baked, have some fun. At least we don't have to sneak it around there. I'm not sure what the jurisdiction or
Jersey's legal. New York's legal now too.
Recreationally,
dude. That's what I'm saying. We walked out of MSG for PFL and walked across the street and picked up a 5-pack of J's for.
They got dispensaries.
Yep. Yeah, right there.
All right. We're finally in 2022, baby.
It was nice and easy, and it was sick. God, man, thanks so much for freaking being here, dude. You're just an absolute stud. Dude, what is hard? Make sure you're following MMA Lock of the Night. Make sure you're checking out all his podcasts. He's streaming 18 hours a day. He's streaming 26 hours a day.
I'm streaming
8 days a week. He's giving you guys nothing but content. He's streaming. You can check out his wiener dog as well. Make sure you're checking her out.
He's in bed with the wife right now, but I'd bring him out if I could.
No, of course. And he's sleeping. You gotta let him relax. Listen, that's what I'm saying. You got to make sure you check him out on his other pods so you can see. You can check him out. Got my amazing, hardworking co-host, TB Scouting MMA. Make sure you check him out. Twitter Verdict, Instagram Tapology. Me, Guru Scouting MMA, Twitter Verdict, Instagram Tapology. Make sure you follow me on Tapology. I think I have only like 4 followers on Tapology, and I literally went 17th in the world last week, and that was still with me fucking up. I clicked Luke by accident by decision, and I meant to put Neil. So I picked Neil in my picks. Listen to the episode last week. I was all over Neil. I clicked the wrong thing because I do it on my iPad. So still 17th in the world. Still 17th in the world with that fuck up last week. So shout out me a little bit. Next week, UFC 278, Kamaru Usman versus Leon Rocky Edwards 2. We have a new guest, a wonderful guest, Mr. James Lynch, coming and joining the show. Really excited to meet him, chat with him, talk with him. So hopefully you guys all come check it out as well. And Block, any last things you want to do, plug, say?
Smoke weed every day.
Smoke weed. That was perfect. That's it. Cut it. Done. That's it.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
See you next week.